From EPAWA Weather Consulting, headquartered in Worth Whitehall, Pennsylvania, this is Weather Weeklies, an informative video of the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The thoughts and opinions expressed in this video are those of the forecaster alone and may not reflect those of the staff of EPAWA Weather Consulting LLC as a whole, nor its constituents. Now, without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrich with Weather Weeklies.
And welcome to another season of the Weather Weeklies videos. This is done every single Sunday throughout the winter season until we have a last threat of snowfall sometime, hopefully in March, not April this year. But this goes through the end of the season, and we will have this every single Sunday. I had an outpouring of support from you guys that are very loyal followers of the Weather Weeklies videos. And hopefully if you're new to this, the Weather Weeklies video, I hope you continue to watch this every single week. What we do is take a look at the long range, and we expand upon the long range that you would see done every single Friday publicly. And you'll see something on the long range outlook looks like this. This is our long range chart that we put out every single Friday, and this is the most recent one that we did. We will also take a look at storm signals once they become available. There are no storm signals presently, at least from a winter storm standpoint, but we will get a little bit more detail with those and expand upon that publicly from what we do in detail in the premium forum, which we'll get into later too. So we are now in the midst of we started yesterday with the below average temperatures, and you certainly felt that yesterday with the wind chills in the 20s and temperatures barely making it above 40 degrees. We even had some snow showers and snow squalls in the morning. Behind that system that came through and brought those below average temperatures behind it. We'll have another one coming through here on Monday evening through Tuesday. Looks like most of it's done by Tuesday morning or late morning, and then we start to taper to showers after that point. But that will be a heavy rain of threat with that. And I do think that it's going to be a rain threat very similar to what we had this last time. Maybe not quite as much rain, maybe a quarter inch less or so, but we're kind of splitting hairs there. We'll see. But we'll have the same opportunity behind it for Tuesday night and Wednesday morning for some snow showers, snow squalls, and some flurries like we saw on Saturday. So that will be the next system coming in, very similar to this last one. All right. But we will be below average for the most part through about the 18th, and we have that when that system approaches here on Tuesday, we'll have slightly below average temperatures that day. Okay, and then it goes back to, so it goes from below average to just slightly below, and then back to well below average. If you thought today was bad or yesterday was bad, wait till Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be brutal for this time of year anyway. Highs will be in the mid-30s. You'll have the snow shower, snow squalls in the morning. You'll have the winds, the wind chill. It's going to be a raw day. But at least it'll be, the sun will be out. That's always a silver lining. And then that well below average period lasts about 2 days, and we start to moderate a little bit to just below average instead of low, but well below. I mean, splitting hairs again there. But we do get to a recovery period just before Thanksgiving. Once we enter Thanksgiving week, we get back to near to slightly below average, which at that time will be low 50s or thereabout. Okay. And then we're looking to the 23rd and 23rd to 26th time frame as a slightly above average period, and that is from Black Friday into at least the early part of the following week, and then we start to step down a little bit to near to slightly below average, and then near to slightly above average, and then near to slightly below average as we go into the first full week of December and maybe into the part of the second week. All right, now this is a change from what the European model is showing. European model has the long range ensembles that go out to 15 days, just like the GEFS do, the GFS ensembles. But they also have the Euro Weeklies, which go all the way a month ahead. And week 4, which is right around this time frame, it is not suggesting near to slightly below average. As a matter of fact, it still has slightly above average for this entire period, just after Thanksgiving or nearer Thanksgiving onward, straight through the end of the run. I don't believe that's correct. I think this is going to be more of a transient switch here. We will have a slightly above average period. Don't get me wrong, we're going to have that, and I'm pretty confident in that, but going beyond that, I don't think it lasts too long, and I'll show you why in the video here. And we have the next couple months here near to slightly below average. I know a lot of areas are above average right now, but with this cold coming in here, that's going to be below average for a while, for a long period. I think this is going to kind of skew the numbers here a little bit and make it near to slightly below average when it all averages out. The dust settles at the end of the month. And December, also near to slightly below average, with slightly above average snowfall. Okay, we're not expecting a ton of snowfall in December, but we will have an early start, it looks like. So we're going to go through the long range here, and I'm going to give you a little bit of winter outlook that we kept private. Of course, we have that in our premium forum and released that the beginning of last week, and that does not get released publicly. But we will have at least some things here from that winter outlook to give you an idea of what we're looking at for this upcoming winter in this outlook here. So first, we'll start off with a pattern here through the end of November. Again, this is the GFS ensembles, and they're showing that period just after Thanksgiving to being slightly above average. European model is a little bit more aggressive with the warmth here, but either way, it's still kind of slightly above average. It's not really like, I don't give you the idea that it's going to be in the 70s again, but it could be slightly above average, so maybe upper 50s, near 60 for a couple days mixed in there. But all this up here is going to eventually, according to the GEFS, move down south here like this, and we'll come back into our area, it looks like, if not the very tail end of the month, and then certainly in December. Now that's what again, GEFS say that, the EPS does not, Euro EPS does not. Now I'm going to show you some things that I'm looking at that can kind of give us an idea of what may happen when you're not just relying on the models, when they're splitting in a split decision like they are right now. The stratosphere and the polar vortex. Okay, now we have a very cold shot right now that is coming in, and that is in part due to a wave 1 polar vortex disruption. The stratosphere is, of course, the next layer of the atmosphere above where we live, above the troposphere. Okay, that's where we live. And if there's any warming episodes that take place there, it can actually, when it forces itself downward and downwells, it can cause the polar vortex to split or become displaced. And then right now that displacement is taking place, and you have one X over here over the Eurasia region, one over the central U.S. moving eastward, and we're getting that right now. Okay, so this is what is going on. It causes that all that air that's up, cold air, the Arctic air that's up here in the polar vortex region, is forced away from the poles to the lower latitudes, and that's why we get the colder air. Now, this is cold relative to this time of year. This is not January cold, but we're simulating January high temperatures here on Wednesday. Again, highs in the mid-30s. That's not good for them. And for this time of year, that's almost 20 degrees below average. In January, if you had something like this happen, you'd have highs in the teens and lows below zero. Okay, so it's all relative to the time of year. But this is the current. This is from Dr. Judah Cohen, by the way. This is the GFS ensemble and the downwelling of that warmth in the stratosphere that pushes that cold air away from the polar regions to the mid-latitudes where we live. And that's the first one that took place. So this one is already occurring, and why we're getting the cold over the next 10 days or so. Okay, and here the GEFS, the ensemble GFS ensemble is predicting another one to come in right after Thanksgiving. So that gives me an idea that, hey, if this occurs and this downwells, we could have another wave 1 polar vortex disruption, and the cold gets in here a little bit sooner. This time of year, the models are, the reason why they're back and forth with this idea, I mean, they are giving the idea they're going to have that slightly above average period, and that's fine. The reason they're in disagreement, you have a lot of disagreement this time of year with seasonal transition in the model, so they kind of struggle a little bit with the overall pattern, and then they finally figure out that, hey, this is coming, so we need to adjust to it. We saw that with this past one, with this one. Once this everything picked up on this, then everything went a lot colder than it was supposed to be. And that's what happens. Also, we have a positive atmospheric angular momentum in the subtropics that would lend a hand to the colder pattern returning at the end of the month as well. And a third thing, which is the Madden-Julian Oscillation. This is a measure of the convection in the equatorial eastern Pacific and where it's located exactly. This can have effects on the jet stream and affect our sensible weather here. Right now, we're somewhere over here, but the idea is they're going to be moving back into, eventually, the colder phases, and look where this runs through, November 24th. So around that same time, the colder phases, this is phase 8, you see the cold here, this is what phase 1 does, and this is what phase 2 does. If it's heading in that general direction, right up here like this, it takes time to get there, but once it gets there, you can have the cold return here toward the very tail end of November or early December. So these are 3 things right there that now are lending a hand toward the cold air returning, and this period that we're talking about of slightly above average temperatures being transient and brief. When brief, I mean under a week. Okay, so I don't think this is going to go as far as the European weeklies suggest, all the way into the middle of December. Don't think that's happening. Okay, this system on Monday night and Tuesday, this is what it looks like. It's a rainstorm for our region. Very similar to the last one, not having any snow with this until this system passes and eventually heads up into New England, and you can get some of this cold air to wrap in behind it. You get the lake effect going again, and you have a repeat of Saturday, only a little bit colder. Okay, we got to most areas got into the 40s, except for the far north on Saturday. But don't expect anybody to get out of the 30s. Maybe down here southeast of Philadelphia, maybe. But everywhere else you're in the 30s here on Wednesday, so it'll feel even colder. If you didn't like Wednesday or like Saturday, you're not gonna like Wednesday. Okay, so now let's take a look at the pattern for the winter. Everybody seems to be keying in on that. What we're expecting currently. El Nino in the East Pacific. This has not been officially declared an El Nino yet by NOAA, but it certainly is by all my accounts. I don't see how this is not an El Nino. You need the ONI value. You see these little charts here. I don't know if you can see this, but the numbers on here need to be above 0.5, which is right about here, and we're above that. Same thing here. These are different. These are the important regions, 3.4 and Nino 4. Those are these areas here closer to the international date line. This is the area right along the equator, plus or minus 5 degrees north and south of the equator. And that area is warmer than average temperatures, and that's what an El Nino is, warmer than average temperatures, as opposed to a La Nina, which was last year, and cooler than average temperatures in that region compared to normal. Okay, you can see these numbers here. Plus 1.1 Celsius, plus 1.2 Celsius, and 3.4, and that's this region right here. Nino 3 is back here, and Nino 1 and 2 is over here near just off the Peruvian coast. So you don't want that to be too warm right there. Nino 1 and 2 you don't want very warm, and it's not. Okay, it's kind of near even. All right, so right now, when we're looking at this, this is the area we're looking at. See these the reds and oranges here. This indicates above average temperatures, and anything that's in blue would be below average temperatures. And this is looking at the entire globe on a flat surface. So the areas we're concerned about, it's a central-based right now, central-based El Nino right here. This is where your warmest anomalies are right here in this region. But you have some other features on the map here that are of very big importance, significant importance for us in winter, and that is we have very warm water up here in the Gulf of Alaska, which can promote ridging. And by ridging, I mean you have a big ridge up here in Alaska or up near Alaska and the west coast, and what goes up must come down. You have a trough in the east, and that's a more dominant pattern here in winter. So it does favor more cold in our region for the winter as a whole, as long as this stays warm, and it looks like it's going to. You also have the southern jet is going to be very juiced and energized because you have all this warm water here from El Nino. And in El Nino pattern, you have all the southern jet of the energy is very energized and juiced and loaded with moisture. Very warm waters off of these coasts, which can lead to some cyclogenesis or strengthening of storms, rapid strengthening of storms as they come up the coast. Very warm in the Gulf of Mexico. And up here in Greenland, we also have, just south of Greenland, some very warm temperatures. So what we do for the winter outlook now is we'll take a look at analogs, and we'll match them with the past years and say, okay, what weird years in the month of November look like this or pretty close to it? Well, we have a couple. We have two top ones here. One's 2002, 2003. You probably heard that thrown around. And it's very similar. The only difference, I think, here is, warm East Coast, warm Gulf of Mexico, central-based Nino. You have the warm the warm temperatures, sea surface temperatures, just in the Gulf of Alaska, just off the west coast of Canada. But it has this cold pool here. If you look here, not really that cold here. You got a little bit cooler than average right out in here, but it was a little bit more pronounced and going all the way over. You see what I mean? And this is November 2002, so it's comparing apples to oranges. Okay, so otherwise it's pretty similar. And then we get into the other one. It's 2014, 2015, also a very active year around here. Now this is a little more reasonable. It's a little closer, a little warmer out in here, but that doesn't really affect too much. But it was warm along the west coast, warm along the east coast, and you have your El Nino is more centralized, just like it is now. So a lot of similarities there we're looking at between what is current, which is right here, okay, and some of these analogs here. They're not going to be exact. No 2 years are ever going to be exact, but they're going to be similar enough that we can make a projection based off of that. And these are just two of them. We actually used 5 or 6, I can't remember. But we had 5 or 6 we blended together, ran through the analogs program, And it's not just sea surface temperatures. The reason why we're looking at sea surface temperatures so much is that is what drives the climate, and that is what our winters will be based off of, based on where the not only where the warmest temperatures are located, but or not where they are on the globally around North America, but also positioning of the warmest waters in the Pacific is very important as far as the jet stream configuration is concerned. So there are a lot of things we're looking at now that we're suggesting an above average winter. And here is our probability map. I will share this with you. This is our winter probability map that we used in the winter outlook. And these areas up here in the lightest blues here are between 90 and 110% of average snowfall. So pretty much a near average snowfall up here by State College at Williamsport. As you get a little bit further south and east, it keeps going up. This is between 110, this medium blue, between 110 and 130% of average snowfall. And the purple is 130 to 150. 130 to 150% of average snowfall. So if you look back at some of these years here, I'm going to take one place I just know because I live here. In 2002, I believe Allentown had 54.4 inches or something like that of snow. Okay, our normal is 32.9. I think Philadelphia had 46 inches that year. Still above that, well above average. Normal there, I think, is 20. Oh boy, picking my brain here. 23, something like that. 22 or 23 inches is normal there. So that's above average also. 2014, 2015, we did a lot of nickel and diming that year, where we had a lot of small storms that just added up, very frequent amounts of snow. And we ended up with about 50 inches in Allentown. I think, I want to say Philadelphia was 27 inches that year, a little bit less, but it's still above average for them. So either way, you're looking above average regardless, however you want to blend this. But our analog blends look like this. So it looks like an I-95 and points northwest, but not too far northwest, points northwest, that do very well this year in terms of total snowfall. So here's our summary. I'm going to get done with this before we get too long in the video. I like to keep this under 20 minutes each week. The largely cooler than average temperatures continue through the 18th and then slightly below till Thanksgiving. After that, we have a transient mild period from Black Friday onward, but we don't think it lasts too long for the reasons I mentioned in the video. We don't think it lasts long and return to slightly below average temperatures. Snowfall is expected to be above average for the winter as a whole during the upcoming season. I have a breakdown in the premium forum exactly what we do by months. I'm not going to do that publicly, but we have each month. We will just do this one month at a time. When we get through these on every Friday, we release the long range outlook. It'll have the upcoming month and what we expect in terms of total snowfall compared to average. You'll just have to wait for it if you're not a premium forum member. But if you do want to become a premium forum member, you can certainly do that. We have many different benefits of having the premium forum and the My Pocket Meteorologist text alerts, the winter text alerts. That gives you a lot more information than what we do publicly. But we can see a lot of people complaining, man, you guys charge for it. No, we don't charge for everything. We got obviously this free video that you're watching right now. We have those daily forecast videos we do every single day. Daily local forecasts are done every single day. Those are all free. Long range every Friday, done freely. Beach forecast is at this time of year, but that's free every Thursday during that beach season. Snow and ice maps that we do within 48 hours of an event, first call, final call maps. Those are free to the public. It's just the advanced discussion we don't get into publicly. We do that in the forum up to 7 days out and do a storm analysis every single day with new models coming in and what our thoughts are. And we do that every single day leading up to any storm, whether it's a bigger or small storm. And text alerts work similar, just not quite 7 days, but we do a text version of the local amounts and timing are sent to you to your phone. And also, the most important thing is the timing of that. We'll not just do start times of snow and end times of snow. We'll also do changeover to other times to changeover to other precipitation types if applicable. When that's going to occur, how much snow, ice, wind, all that stuff. We do that everything through the My Pocket Meteorologist text alerts, and the winter snow maps that we release publicly will come to the forum members first. So look into the alerts that the premium forum. That is, the link is, if you click on the image below this video, it'll have the My Pocket Meteorologist information. It'll go right to that page. You get more information on it, and you can sign up for that program. And we will have that program running all the way until the last snowfall of the end of the year. But this is their 6th year of doing it. It's been very successful, and everybody that's had this has had nothing but really good things to say about it. So if you need any testimonials, please feel free to ask on the Facebook page, and I'm sure somebody will be able to jump on there and let you know the value of what having these text alerts at a minimum, if not the premium forum. for the My Pocket Meteorologist program. I'm EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Marchers. That's this edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, November 11th. Happy Veterans Day to all the vets out there, and we'll see you next week.